Alright. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. And if it's not, I hope it gets better. Just try to make it the best day you possibly can. And positivity is what's going to keep society together, not division. But stumbled across this video right here. I don't know what it is. Why Alcatraz had to close. Kind of curious. I've heard a couple of stories over the years, so let's see what their perspective is on the matter. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The original link to this video will be in the description below, so make sure you go over there and watch their video and give them a like as well. But yeah, stay positive.
Alcatraz is one of the most famous prisons to be found in the United States, even though it hasn't been open for years. This prison officially closed on March 21st, 1963, after operating for more than 29 years.
I always forget
Over
the
the
volume.
years, it's built up quite a reputation for itself, especially due to its location on an island, making it separate from the mainland. At its peak period of use in the 1950s, the Rock, or America's Devil Island, housed over 200 inmates at the maximum security facility. Alcatraz remains an icon of American prisons for its harsh conditions and record for being inescapable. The 12-acre rocky island, 1.5 miles.
So somebody let me know in the comments if y'all think those 3 inmates actually made it away or if they died in whatever body of water that was. I personally think they survived, but that's just my personal opinion.
Miles from San Francisco, featured the most advanced security of the time. Some of the first metal detectors were used at Alcatraz. Strict rules were enforced against the unfortunate inmates who had to do time at Alcatraz. Nearly complete silence was mandated at all times. The name Alcatraz is derived from the Spanish Alcatrazes. In 1775, the Spanish explorer Juan Manuel was the first to sail into what is now known as San Francisco Bay. His expedition mapped the bay and named one of the 3 islands Alcatrazes. Over time, the name was angelicized to Alcatraz, while the...
But I mean, could you imagine being put in prison and that's what you had to deal with though? And I heard the waters and stuff were very messed up. I'm doing my best not to curse anymore. So, just bear with me, please. Thank you. But, could you imagine having to deal with this if you did make it out of the building? Like,
The exact meaning is still debated. Alcatraz is usually defined as meaning pelican or strange bird. In 1850, a presidential order set aside the island for possible use as a United States military reservation. The California gold rush, the resulting boom in the growth of San Francisco, and the need to protect San Francisco Bay led the U.S. Army to build a citadel, or fortress, at the top of the island in the early 1850s. The Army also made plans to install more than 100 cannons on the island, making Alcatraz the most heavily fortified military site on the West Coast. Together with Fort Point and Lime Point, Alcatraz formed a triangle of defense, designed to protect the entrance to the bay. The island was also the site of the first operational lighthouse on the west coast of the United States. The U.S. Army used the...
I did not know that. I don't know if it's useful information, but I didn't know that. Sounds cool, though. History. Learn it, people. It is important.
to the bay. The island was also the site of the first operational lighthouse on the west coast of the United States. The U.S. Army used the island for more than 80 years, from 1850 until 1933, when the island was transferred to the U.S. Department of Justice for use by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. The federal government had decided to open a maximum security, minimum privilege penitentiary to deal with the most incorrigible inmates in federal prisons, and to show the law-abiding public that the federal government was serious about stopping the rampant crime of the 1920s and 1930s. If a man did not behave...
Is that when Al Capone and all that shit was... Yeah,
rampant crime of the 1920s and 1930s. If a man did not behave at another institution, he could be sent to Alcatraz, where the highly structured, monotonous daily routine was designed to teach an inmate to follow the rules and regulations. At Alcatraz, a prisoner had...
If there were gangsters out there shooting people with Tommy guns and shit, you think they're gonna follow this strict regiment that you put forth in front of them?
4 rights: food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. Everything else was a privilege that had to be earned. Some privileges a prisoner could earn included working, corresponding with and having visits from family members, access to the prison library, and recreational activities such as painting.
Also depends on who you paid off back then. Don't get that shit twisted. Not all the movies are wrong. That shit really happens. Just saying.
And music. While several well-known criminals, such as Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, Alvin Karpis the First, Public Enemy No. 1, and Arthur Doc Barker did time on Alcatraz, most of the prisoners incarcerated there were not well-known gangsters, but prisoners who refused to conform to the rules and regulations at other federal institutions, who were considered violent and dangerous.
No way. Hold on, wait. He didn't just say that, did he? Gangsters didn't follow the rules and regulations? No.
Prisoners who refused to conform to the rules and regulations at other federal institutions, who were considered violent and dangerous, or who were considered escape risks. Over the 29-year period that the federal prison operated, 36 men, including 2 who tried to escape twice, were involved in 14 separate escape attempts. Of these, 23 were caught, 6 were shot and killed during their escape, and 2 drowned. 2 of the men who were caught were later executed at the California State Prison at San Quentin for their role in the death of a correctional officer during the famous May 2nd to 4th, 1946 Battle of Alcatraz escape attempt. Officially, no one ever succeeded in escaping from Alcatraz, although to this day...
Okay. So all those escape attempts, several guards, over what he said, 29 years, were murdered, and several inmates were murdered. Like, if you have the balls to do the crime, I understand desperate situations and things like that, but you're not going to go to a prison like that for some petty crimes. So if you're willing to do serious crime, accept the consequences, man up, right? It's your fucking fault. You're the one who put yourself there. Nobody else but you.
Although, to this day, there are 5 prisoners listed as missing and presumed drowned. One of the many myths about Alcatraz is that it was impossible to survive a swim from the island to the mainland because of sharks. But there are no man-eating sharks in San Francisco Bay, only small bottom-feeding sharks. The main obstacles were the cold temperature, the strong currents, and the distance to the shore. The federal penitentiary at Alcatraz was shut down in 1963 because the institution was too expensive to continue operating. An estimated $3 to $5 million was needed just for restoration and maintenance work to keep the prison open. That figure did not include daily operating costs.
And that was back then. Hell, that's astronomical, ain't it? Could you imagine what that would be worth today? Like,
Alcatraz was nearly 3 times more expensive to operate than any other federal prison. Furthermore, the isolated island buildings were beginning to crumble due to the exposure to the salty sea air. During nearly 3 decades of operation, Alcatraz housed a total of 1,576 men. In March 1964, a group of Sioux claimed that the island belonged to them due to a 100-year-old treaty. Their claims were ignored until November 1969, when a group of 89 Native Americans representing the American Indian movement occupied the island. They stayed there until 1971, when AIM was forced off the island by federal authorities. Alcatraz Island became a park.
how do you have 80-something people on a remote island like that? Where are their groceries coming from? Like, what? Everything's just being boated in or flew in? Like, I don't think there was a landing strip, so it all has to just be boated in.
There until 1971, when AIM was forced off the island by federal authorities. Alcatraz Island became a Park Service site in 1972, and the doors were opened to the public in 1973. After its closure and before it officially became a tourist attraction, the island was abandoned. There were many proposals put on the table regarding the future of the island and the prison, including putting a statue there or a hotel and shopping center complex. Every year, more than 1 million visitors come to the island.
Any fucking where you can put a hotel or shopping center, somebody fucking wants to do it. Jesus fucking Christ. Consumer society.
The prison, including putting a statue there or a hotel and shopping center complex. Every year, more than 1 million visitors come to the island. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to find out more interesting topics. And as always, thanks for watching.
Alright. I reckon that's the end of that video. I do apologize for my last couple of statements. I'll check whenever I watch it again, but I thought I'd done pretty good. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. If you're not having a wonderful day, try to make it the best you possibly can, and just always stay positive, and I don't know. It can't get too much worse than it already is, unless you're one of the people that run that building. So, I hope y'all have a great day. Peace.